Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here is the greatest intercontinental heavyweight champion of all time, the Honky Tonk Man speaking in. And when I'm not hitting J-Bronies with my guitar, I'm visiting StoneAgeGamer.com getting my retro gaming on. Because I got the EverDrive line by Chris from my Sega Genesis. And I'm also using the brand new controllers from Retrobit. That's right, they teamed up with the original Sega. Not the imposter at games either. That's right, this is the real McCoy. Just like the Honky Tonk Man is the real McCoy. So if you want to be the greatest of all time like the Honky Tonk Man, you gotta go to StoneAgeGamer.com and use the link in the description. Thank you for your support. You're a wonderful audience.
What's up, everybody? John Schaefer back at you again, and we got this Game Boy Color here. Now, as you've seen in the EverDrive GB video, this is going to be our next project. Now, first project, obviously, that we're showing on YouTube from start to finish, because we got other projects done. We'll be covering those in next months or so. But while this is a great system, I mean, there's a lot of good games for it, including the Gold, Silver, and Crystal series from Pokemon. There's a few flaws with this. First of all, we could do better with the shell. I mean, it's scratched, it's dingy, it's been 20 years. Buttons look a little plain. You know, they're a little, listen to that. It's not as good as it used to be. Got the plastic lens with some scratches on it. But the biggest problem is this. The screen. Now how this wasn't even acceptable for 1999. I mean, the constant struggle of having to find a good spot and have a good light over you. I mean, the screen is sharp. It is, don't get me wrong. It's very sharp. But the problem is, there's no real way to backlight this until now. And we're going to turn this into a real treasure that you guys are going to love. Now, we're going to show you this, which is the before. We're going to show you the after, and we're going to show you how we got to that point. And with the magic of video, we're going to turn this to this. The Suicune Game Boy Color. Beautiful, isn't it? Let's try it out. I love it. Look at how crisp this thing is. I don't even have to put it to the speaker. I don't have to put it to the camera. This is amazing. It's a work of art. And did I mention, not sure if you can see it, but it glows in the dark. Awesomeness. Now, the biggest question y'all are wondering is, how did we get here? How did we get to this point and making that awesome thing you just seen? Well, I'll show you exactly how we did it. We did it with the help of someone else who sponsors this channel, Handheld Legend. And a little backstory of how I got involved with Handheld Legend. Originally, I was planning to do this mod with retro modding, use their parts. However, they've had a lot of shipping issues recently. Their packages were held at customs. Not really many, being on the Facebook page, not really any explanation other than what they originally gave. But it's been about 2-3 weeks since their statement, and there's people that still haven't gotten their order, nor their replacement order that they promised to send out. So dealing with them is a little iffy at this point, especially now that their website is rebuilding and nobody was notified about that. Whereas I saw these people had the parts, and not only that, but they're very close to where we're at. They're about a state or two away. So I'd rather deal with a state or two away than somebody who's all the way up in Canada, potentially getting my order held and all that other fun stuff. So Handheld Legend, we bought this stuff from them. I think it's better. And I'll show you in a little bit how it got better. Small little package, but they packed it really well. Now, we have first of all, the kit that we use for the screen comes with a glass lens. However, we really didn't need this glass lens because, as you saw in the video, we wanted to use this one. Oh, sorry. This one. Now, I really wish, and I should suggest this, I really wish that they would have, instead of paying for a whole new lens, I wish that they would have let you choose your color. That would have been a lot better. Hopefully, I can get that fixed by the time that this video airs. I should have a talk with them about that. Because another thing, I should get that out later too. I'm doing this shoot style, so to speak. Got a sticker from them. Handheldlegend.com is where you could find them. And of course, we have the screen. And I don't want to really take the screen out of the package yet because obviously this needs to go for install. But as you can see, we have the screen here. It's a ribbon cable. It's a drop-in kit, but I get nervous around compressed air. So, like, I want it to be perfect, and I know I'm not going to have the patience to make it perfect. And that's another thing. Even if you do have the skills to put this together, if you don't have the patience for it or a little anxious, suffer anxiety over it, like I would, it's better to just have somebody else do it with a steady hand, because I don't. And, of course, it comes with a replacement sticker, this shell. But as you can see, this is the shell we're going to be using. Really good stuff. And it comes with screws. Yeah, it does. It's on the inside of the cartridge slot. But as you can see, this shell matches the Pokemon Crystal cart. And also, this is a glow-in-the-dark blue. I wish I could turn the light. I'll probably show it with the other one. But this actually glows in the dark as well. And since we went for a Suicune motif that looks like a Suicune. And we also grabbed this. And these are the buttons for the system. And it's funny because in the picture it looked a lot more purple than I was hoping for. And I was like, okay, that's good, because some of the pictures of Suicune are very like lightish pinkish purple. But this actually is the buttons that I need. It actually will match it up. And, of course, these are the spaces for the screen down here, as well as a new power button. So, basically, you reuse your start and select buttons. But that's not all. Because this package came, and when I contacted... Handheld Legend actually contacted me to thank me for my order. And they asked, well, if you have any questions, you want to talk to us about anything, go ahead. So I said, well, I'm doing this for a YouTube channel, and I want this because I know Retro Modding puts together kits that has everything you need to make that particular unit, which I'm hoping to do with this, or at least have a link to where I got the parts to make it. And he was very receptive. His name is Dustin, and he sent me something else that would help the build, because I said, look, I also wanted to put an audio amp in here, but it wasn't available on the website, and it wasn't. At the current time we ordered it, all they had was for the original dot matrix, I want to say, but they didn't have it for the Game Boy Color. But off his own workbench, and that's a pretty cool move, I gotta say. Just had to pay for shipping, by the way. he gave me this. And I was kind of afraid because, you know, USPS with small packages like this are a pain in the butt. But we have the new speaker. We have the ring for that speaker. And we have an audio amp. And this can actually be used in the Game Boy Color. And it's another reason why I actually want to get this done by my installer, because that requires soldering, and I know no shit about soldering. You know, it's always, instead of attempting it yourself, it's always better to ask for somebody else's help. But, so we got literally all the parts that we need to turn this piece of crap into this little ditty that you seen earlier. So now that that's all done, let's show an overview of what this new pimped out system looks like. Now let me run through what this thing can do now that the product is all finished up. We got the white glass lens right here for maximum clarity. You can see it's a little thinner, it's a little smaller. You can see the power light doesn't end where it usually does. And that's because this IPS screen is a lot smaller. Now, you may think of that as a negative. However, it's really not, because the screen is exact pixel size. So it takes a little bit getting used to it. It took me about maybe an hour to get used to it. But when I did, I saw once you see the clarity, it's amazing, because the original screens are reflective. So, yeah, the screen is bigger, but the pixels are a little more stretched out, whereas this one is at its correct aspect ratio. And not only that, but, you know, it's backlit, so you don't have to worry about all that. And it's a lot sharper because of it. Like, I'm going to demo a couple things real quick to show you how sharp this screen is. We got the glow-in-the-dark blue shell here. And this does glow in the dark. It kind of sucks in a way. When it's glowing, it's a green. I don't know if the camera picked that up or not. But still, it's pretty cool to have this. Now, it's not a complete fit. Like, you can see, you know, it's, believe me, it's tightened up as tight as it can go. That's just the screen. And, of course, we got the back sticker here. And it literally looks like an exact Game Boy, which is what I wanted. I wanted it to look something like Nintendo should have done, or maybe would have done. And the reason why I did a Suicune Game Boy Color, not just because I'm a fan of Pokemon Crystal, but also the fact of the matter that Nintendo did a special edition Game Boy Color for Pokemon Yellow, which was the yellow with the blue, green, and red buttons that you see. They did one for Gold and Silver, and by the way, the aftermarket shells don't do it justice because it's just a silvery gold, whereas the original one is supposed to change from gold to silver depending on, it's a reflective paint, depending on where you looked at it in the light. But they never, surprisingly, they never made one for Pokemon Crystal. Now, I understand. I know people are going to say, well, you know, John, Game Boy Advance came out around that time. Well, yeah, it did. But, you know, they still sold 3DSs when, special 3DSs when the Switch came out, you know. And not only that, but they never even bothered to make a special edition Game Boy Advance for it. You know, that would have been smart. Because also you got to remember, Pokemon Crystal came out at the same time the Game Boy Advance came out. I want to say it came out day and date here with it in the States, but I could be mistaken. But anyway, they never made one, so I decided to make one. And I went with the usual picture of Suicune that everybody knows. Basically, I wanted the blue not only to match his color, the light blue, but also to match the crystal cartridge. I went with the clear purple buttons. And by the way, all these parts can be found at handheldlegend.com. Handheld Legend was tremendous and super to this whole thing. My throat's fucked up today. I don't know why. Anyway, I know a lot of people are having issues with retro modding. And because of shipment, now all of a sudden they won't ship certain things to the U.S. because they're Canadian. I don't know what the hell's going on. They haven't really said anything too much on their Facebook, but Handheld Legends in Pennsylvania, so they are in the U.S. And their products, as you can see, are top-notch, and dealing with them through this whole process has been top-notch. From helping me design it, you know, they helped me pick. I said, look, this is what I want. This is what I'm thinking, and they helped me pick out certain parts. Also, it has an amplifier in here, which you can, I don't know if you can, camera can pick it up there, but there's a chip there, and right around here. That's an audio amplifier, and this is the bigger speaker. And Dustin from Handheld Legend actually sent it off his own workbench for me to use, because it was sold out, and I told him, like, look, I wanted to promote this build. The whole idea was, I'm hoping that maybe you see how cool this is and want to order a kit with the parts all together, so maybe you can make it yourself. I don't know if they're going to do that or whatever it is, but, or if they're going to feature it and just show you what I used, but I'm going to tell you right now what I used, exactly what I used, just in case. And I know I said it earlier, but it bears repeating now that I am fully testing this thing. The only thing I kept was the start and select buttons, which kind of suck because my stupid ass, I forgot to order purple buttons. But looking at it now, it's almost like it fits. You know, it's a little bit of black. You know, like, you know, whatever. It's something from the other system that we use, because we use the atomic purple. The purple is actually, you know, the Suicune hair or fur or whatever you want to call it. When I looked at the clear purple buttons at first, I was a little concerned that it would come out a little lighter than what it was, and I was prepared. I would have been fine with that. But when they actually came in, I saw they were darker. It's perfect because now it matches it even more. So we got the upgraded speaker, we got the amp, we got the colored buttons, we got the lens, white lens. Hopefully Handheld Legend will change it. I hope they do. When I ordered the screen, it came with a black version of this glass lens. They do not allow you to pick your color. I don't know why. I'm going to inquire to see if maybe they could change that on the website and let you pick the color lens you want. So I had two glass lenses. I had the black one, which I didn't need, which I traded into Digital Press, and I got this constructed at Digital Press in Springfield. I traded in my old parts, you know, the shell, the old screen, and the glass lens. But still, it would be nice if that was a possibility. And also the buttons come with the power slider. Also comes with a replacement sticker. Got the battery cover. I want to say brand new screws. I believe they are. Yeah. So let's show you now exactly what it can do. We're going to turn it on. And that's the IPS screen. My one complaint, which to other people wouldn't be such a complaint. I don't think it got a little dirty yet already. For the glass lens, for the IPS screen, this is as bright as it goes. I wished personally it was a little brighter. A lot of people have been complaining, saying it's too bright. I disagree, unless maybe I need to replace caps in here. I don't know. But anyway, as you can see, I touched the top above the COM port, and the brightness adjusts to where the point you can turn it off and still somewhat use it like you used to, and just, you know, glare at it. And another tap, it's back on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 5 switch, and it goes in here. I think maybe the reason why it's not closing completely is Leonard decided to put it under the COM port. I can't really see with the shell, but I would have preferred it in the middle here, because then, because I still want to use the COM port for like Pokemon Pikachu if I ever find it. So let me show you with a Game Boy game at first. how sharp this screen really is. Even though it's small, it's still sharp. And don't mind that buzz that usually... And remember how low the speaker was the last time? So that's how sharp the screen is. So even though it's smaller, it's a lot sharper, so you can still see it. And this is at full blast. Like, I was in the store picking it up, and I could literally, people could literally hear from across the store. It's nice to be able to actually play the game and actually be able to hear what you're playing. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but the speakers, because people are more concerned with capacitors, but the speakers in these things go really quick. Like, after a long time, you know, this is about 20 years old, you know, they're not as sharp as they were anymore. The speakers were never loud to begin with because, well, it's a Game Boy. Most people use headphones or whatever. But they actually make this amp. And this one, I think in particular, is used also for the Game Boy Advance. So it's worth it when they do get them back in stock, because right now they're sold out. To get the amp, get the speaker for either this or the Game Boy Advance, or even they make one for the Game Boy original. And the difference is worth the extra cost, and it's worth the extra soldering. So let's go to a Game Boy Color game that I tried before. Let's go back to Super Mario Deluxe. Just so you can see a color game in action. Oh my god, you can actually see it now. And that's another complaint, by the way. Like, sometimes in certain, when, like, the light's on or whatever, the screen gets a little tiny bit hard to see. But I guess that's because it's reflective inside. I don't know, but it looks good to me, so. But remember before where you could hardly see it? Now you are seeing it. And you're hearing it. And this is basically something you can do for, I want to say, like, if you know how to do it yourself, obviously you're going to save money. But I was kind of too afraid to do it because I know me, I would get dust or something inside the unit. And I don't know how to solder, so I wouldn't be able to solder the chip in. So the installation at Digital Press was 30 bucks. 5 extra for the speaker. And on top of paying $35 for the Game Boy Advance, so right now we're at $70. And about, I want to say, $70, $80 for the parts. So that's so about $150. You can have your own Suicune and Game Boy Color. And there's other things, there's other combinations you can make. I mean, my friend wants to get a half green and half red, like a half green, half purple with red buttons and a white screen for a Joker, for example. But that's the great thing about being able to customize your Game Boy Advance. I should have asked them to clean the link cable. Oh well. But, alas, I could just take a Q-tip to that myself. But, as you can see, this is perfection. This is as perfect as you can get for a Game Boy Color. And another question I'm sure people are going to ask is, why didn't I do the Game Boy Advance to begin with? It's sort of tricky. First of all, I have a Game Boy Advance in mind. It's just getting it done. I'll let the cat out of the bag. I want to do a Ruby and Sapphire one, like the memory card that you got with Pokemon Box. And the problem is, with doing that, there's no translucent red shells. There's translucent blue shells, like, all over the place. But translucent red, you can't find it. So if any of y'all can help me out with that or point me in the right direction, I'm thinking of two things right now. Either somebody out there has to have made one, Or B, well, B1 and B2 actually, get a clear shell, or B2 get a smoke black shell, like a clear black, and get what's called translucent spray paint, and spray paint the shell to red and blue respectively, because we 1/2 red, 1/2 blue. And obviously I'm in Jersey, so I'd have to wait for the weather to warm up to be able to do that, because I'd have to spray outside, and plus it's been wet all winter. But as with the PSIO getting that order getting messed up, and this finally getting done because of it, because I was going to work on the Game Boy Advance this month, I do have the GC Loader pre-ordered, so that's going to come in April, and that I'm going to be installing myself. I'm sure there's going to be like 90,000 YouTube videos how to fucking do it, but I don't care about that. You're on my channel. You know, I want to welcome you. Like I said, I want to welcome you to my home, invite you into my life. I'm not trying to, you know, do the quick 10-minute like, subscribe, blah, 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 bullshit. And if you watch this video, you're a friend. And you're in this house with me. So, the next project that I'll be working on, and it's my birthday in March. So, I wanted something a little exotic. And this might be a little uncharted territory for me personally, even though I grew up with it. Because this is a perfect example to show off of something that really isn't supported as much. Like this thing, you can buy an EverDrive X7 all day long. You can buy it off Amazon. You can buy it off Crix's site. You could buy it off Stone Age Gamer, which, by the way, use the link in the description. Man, I shouldn't really do that, but god damn it, you know, Stone Age Gamer is, if I'm going to sponsor something here on this channel, it's going to be because I deal with them personally all the time, and I love it. It's not just going to be some company pays me or approaches me and says, hey, we want you to do this spot. No, if I don't deal with you on a personal basis, why would I send anyone else to deal with you? But anyway, so you can buy these EverDrives all day long. You can buy these shells all day long. If you can't find it on Handheld Legend, you can find it on eBay. God forbid, if you're in Canada, check Retro Modding, if you even get your order. But you can get shells all the time. You can get buttons all the time. You can get these glass lenses the whole time. And there's better ones, by the way, in the UK that say Game Boy Color Light. But this is adequate enough for me. This is good. You get the screens all day long. They come from China. Well, not so much now with the coronavirus, but still. So the next project that I'm working on is the Atari Lynx. That's going to be interesting because not only can it get expensive, but it's a pain to get done. So while this little bad boy has Chinese parts in him, which is mass produced on a grand scale, something like an Atari Lynx is, you need specialized parts. You need a McWill kit. Now, Ben Venn does have his own screen kit, and I'm sure, and it's a lot cheaper, by the way, and I'm sure that's going to be adequate for a lot of people. But I want to actually capture footage, and therefore I'm going full blast with the McWill kit, having the VGA installed, having the new screen installed, and also have a flash cart coming in from Poland called the Agacart. And since Retro HQ decided to, and I was one of those people that had the Jaguar SD pre-ordered, and all of our pre-orders were canceled except from my wave because he gave up on it. Basically because the official reason is because, oh, well, he wanted to devote more time to other things, but the unofficial reason is simply because it had so many bugs in it that instead of working them out, he gave up. So ever since then, I've been iffy about getting anything else from him. And I saw this other dude make a flash cart, and he's been really good with communicating. He actually had 2 left before he gets a shortage of parts because he's got to order them from China. It's $57 for the cart, although PayPal will basically fuck you with like $10 worth of fees if you get them from the US. So I got that coming in. It's going to be interesting because it's a homebrew cart. It's not like a Crick's cart where it's meant for more mass consumption. This is homemade. This is like 3D printed stuff. And then the McWill kits are usually handmade. And on top of finding a working Lynx, and I know I'm giving away half the fucking video, but it's called teasing you. But literally finding a working Lynx, that's the key. Especially since the Lynx I wanted to go after, and I know some Atari Lynx fans who do watch this channel are going to go, oh man, what the hell? Why did you do that? I went after the Atari Lynx 1. And I know there's some problems with it, especially on the model I'm getting. The paint, paint's a problem, you know, does rub off. Also, the headphone jack is in mono. But at the same time, you're not really going to care because I know how to rechannel mono. And also because that's the Lynx that I held in my hand that my Aunt Kim used when I was growing up. So that's one of the first handhelds I ever had my hands on. So I always wanted one. When I did have one, it didn't work simply because, and by the way, now I know it as a warning sign. It had the 2 infamous screw holes on the side, on the left side, because what happened, that's a sure sign somebody's opened it up and didn't know what they were doing. Because if you ever, this is a helpful hint, if you ever go shopping for an original Lynx and you see 2 holes on the left side, like one above and one below the control pad, that's because somebody took it apart and didn't use the proper screws to close it in. Because even though the Atari Lynx looks the same, the screws look the same, they're of different sizes. So if you try to use the right hand screw, when you have the unit flipped over, if you try to use the left-hand screws on the right side, you're going to get those screw holes. So those screw holes mean that somebody was in there that didn't know what they were doing. So luckily me, I found one that hasn't been opened yet. And there's a whole story with this, and hopefully it's going to have a happy ending. But I suppose I've wasted your time enough, haven't I? Anyway. Okay, I'm talking about one handheld. This is how passionate I am about retro gaming. Like, truly passionate. Not like, you know, a lot of people that just, here's my collection. Here you see it. No. I want to encourage discussion. I like talking about this thing. It fires me up to do it. It makes my face light up. It's amazing. But I go from talking about one handheld to another. And, that's the whole key of this whole thing, and doing like a soft relaunch of this channel, I guess, is to cover all of these projects that I'm working on. And you figure sort of like Gears, if you ever watched that show, but for you know, like portables and consoles and pimping them out, seeing what we can get out of it. So if you guys, I know it's slow to pick up, I get it, because I'm just starting back up. But if y'all are watching my videos, you know, thank you. I love y'all. I know I'm not to everybody's taste, you know, but I try to be warm and friendly, you know. Some of these videos that I've had from years ago, you've literally seen my taste grow up through, you know, through your eyes, I guess. But, you know, this is going to be an interesting journey, and I hope y'all stick with me on this. So for now, John Schaefer signing off from Twin Family Productions.